All right, let's just jump right in. For, I don't know, forever, the rules of the internet have been pretty straightforward, right? You create great stuff and people will eventually find it. But what if those rules just completely changed? What if the most important reader of your work, your website, your entire online identity isn't actually human anymore?
This right here, this is the question you need to be asking yourself right now. And I'm not talking about some far-off sci-fi future. This is the new reality we are all living in right now. The audience for your content has fundamentally, and I mean fundamentally, changed. It's time we all learn to play the new game.
You know, for the last 2 decades, it's all been about SEO, search engine optimization. And that meant getting human eyeballs on your pages. Simple. You wrote for people. Well, that era is over. Now we're in a brand new one. It's not just about sparking a person's curiosity anymore. It's about proving your value, your real worth, to a machine.
So let's be super clear about what's happening. A huge chunk of your audience is now in AI. And no, these aren't just the dumb bots of the past crawling your site for a few keywords. These are incredibly sophisticated models that are reading, understanding, and actually evaluating the quality of everything you put out there.
And look, this isn't some tiny fraction we're talking about. Right now, AI agents make up a full 1/3 of all organic search traffic. Just let that sink in for a second. 1 out of every 3 visitors to your content is a machine. And you better believe that number is only going one way, up.
So here's the bottom line. The moment you hit publish on a case study, a blog post, or a project update, these advanced AI models are all over it. They're actively analyzing it, looking for signals. Signals of real expertise, authority, and trust. And they are way, way smarter than those old algorithms we used to fool by just stuffing keywords everywhere.
Okay, so how in the world do you stand out when the internet is about to be flooded with AI-generated content? Well, you lean into the one thing that an AI simply cannot replicate, and that is real, authentic, lived experience. This is your new superpower.
This quote really hits the nail on the head. See, this is AI's big weakness. It is fantastic at summarizing stuff that's already known, but it is absolutely terrible at creating those unique, messy, specific details that only come from actually doing the work. You know, hitting a wall, trying something new, and finally figuring out a solution. And there's a name for this. It's called proof of lived experience. This isn't about just claiming you're an expert. It's about providing the evidence in a way that a machine can read and verify. We're talking about specific data points, the unique challenges you faced, those unexpected pivots you had to make. These are the things an AI can't just invent out of thin air. So what does that actually look like? Well, this is the stuff the AI is hunting for, the exact technical glitch you fixed, the piece of data that made you completely change course halfway through a project, the messy human reality of just making something work. You know, did you have to figure out Australian privacy laws on the fly? Did you solve a problem for the marketing team that the IT department kept missing? That's the gold. That's what it wants.
Okay, so we know what the AI wants, but how do we actually, talk to it? I want you to think about it like this. You're writing a resume, but your hiring manager is a robot. It doesn't care about fluff. It needs clear, structured, and verifiable proof that you know what you're doing.
And of course, there's a name for this whole new playbook. Generative Engine Optimization, or GEO. You can think of it as the successor to SEO, built from the ground up for a world where AI comes first.
The GEO playbook really boils down to 4 main principles. First, you've got to adopt what's called an answer-first format. Just get straight to the point. Second, you have to add proof in lots of different formats, like videos and original screenshots. Third, you prove you're the real deal by building topical authority. That means creating whole clusters of content showing you deeply understand a subject. And fourth, and this one's a big one, your site has to be technically perfect.
Let's drill down on that last point for a second, because it is completely non-negotiable. By 2026, if your page doesn't load in under 2 seconds and become interactive in less than 200 milliseconds, you are going to get hammered in the rankings. Why? Because to an AI, a slow website is a sign of a bad user experience, and it will just deprioritize your content. This isn't a friendly suggestion anymore. It's the new price of admission.
All right, let's make this super concrete. We're going to look at the anatomy of a case study and see exactly how to transform it from something that was written for humans into something that's truly optimized for an AI. This slide says it all. This is the core shift. The old way was to use this vague marketing speak like, we increased efficiency. The new way, the GEO way, is to give them hard data. We achieved a 35% reduction in manual data entry.
See the difference? One is just a claim, the other is proof. An AI completely ignores the first one and rewards the second.
So here's the whole breakdown. Your summary? It can't be some big wall of text anymore. It needs to be a sharp 2-sentence answer right at the very top. Your data? You got to move from general claims of success to specific KPIs and percentage improvements. And your proof? Please ditch the stock photos. The AI wants to see original screenshots, photos of your custom dashboards, maybe even links to short little video walkthroughs.
So let's pull all this together. I know it might feel like we're being forced to write for robots. And look, in a way, we are. But here's the crazy paradox. To really succeed with AI, you actually have to become more authentically human.
Because in a digital world that's about to be drowning in generic synthetic content, the only thing that's going to have real value is your unique, messy, specific, and verifiable experience. So here's your takeaway. Start documenting the messy details of your work today. The mistakes, the pivots, the little wins, that is your future content library. Your humanity, that's your brand. That's your authority, that's your edge.
So the final question I really want to leave you with is this. As AI gets woven deeper and deeper into our digital lives, it's just going to get harder and harder to tell what's real and what's not. And in that world, how are you going to prove that your work, that your ideas, and that your experience are the real deal?